I accrued a total of $127,000 in student loan debt to get my degree in occupational therapy, which I finished in May of last year. By the time I passed my boards and got a job, it was July. Now it's February, so it's been about 7 months since I started making income and paying off my student loan debt, and my balance is currently right about $111,000. That means that I've paid off $16,000 in student loan debt in just about 7 months, which is pretty cool progress. So today I figured I'd share exactly what my mindset around paying off my loans has been, as well as some helpful tips that have helped me pull this off. I've been very open about the fact that I live with my boyfriend and we do have some shared expenses, but I think it's important to understand what our monthly expenses look like so that you can understand how we allocate our money and what we sacrifice in and what we're willing to spend on. So we went ahead and calculated any expenses that are combined or contribute directly to our lifestyle, and our combined monthly expenses are $7,600 per month. This includes his mortgage and everything that goes along with that, like property, taxes, and insurance. It also includes our not bare bones grocery budget, our combined savings goals, as well as our fun money. And I did go ahead and include my minimum student loan payment in this calculation as well. What I didn't include was my personal savings, my personal investments, or any additional money that I'm putting towards my student loans. Well, we've been together for a long time and we're planning for a shared future. We are not legally married, so we haven't completely combined our finances. But we do have shared financial goals, one of which is to pay off my student loans as soon as possible. My loans are all federal loans, but they are all more than 5% interest. So we can't safely outinvest them. And because our expenses are relatively low compared to our combined income, we will both be able to afford to work less once these loans are paid off, which would buy us more time to work on personal projects, spend time with each other, spend time with family, and explore the state that we live in and love so much. So technically my boyfriend covers about 2/3 of our expenses and I cover about 1/3. But it's a little bit complicated because I don't really consider myself to have any ownership or payment towards this house except for the closet system that I bought. So if we remove the mortgage and my debt, it's more of a 60-40 split, but semantics. And like I said, I am sharing this because I often get a lot of comments of like, must be nice if you're able to do XYZ because your boyfriend's floating your income. When in reality, I make more than half of our combined expenses. But because we have a shared goal and he's able to afford to pay more, we do that, and that's how we split up our money. And this is just what makes sense for us. So after I pay my share of the expenses, I'm left with about $1,600 to put towards personal goals. And obviously one of these goals is to put excess money to my loans to pay them down faster. My minimum payment is $1,500 a month, and if I were to make this payment every single month, I would pay my loans off in about 10 years. But come on guys, we can do better than that. The reason I'm so focused to put extra money in addition to my minimum payment towards my goals is because any additional money I put every single month goes straight to the principal balance. So it actually reduces the amount of interest that accrues every single month, meaning that more of the money from my minimum payment can go towards the principal as well. So for example, if you had a loan for $10 at 10% monthly interest, every single month your debt would accrue $1 in interest. If your minimum payment was $1.01, then really every single month only 1 penny would be going towards your principal balance. But if one month you paid an additional 50 cents to your loan, all of a sudden the balance is $9.50. Now that would mean your interest is only accruing at a rate of 95 cents per month, which means that an additional 6 cents every single month is actually going towards principal. This would have a huge impact in how quickly you can pay off your debt. So the first thing I did when I had an estimate of how much I was going to have to pay back on my loans was calculate how much I would have to pay every single month to pay it off in my dream amount of time, which was 3 years because I was in grad school for 3 years, and it sounded like a nice round goal to pay them off in less time than I accrued them. So I just Googled a simple debt payoff calculator, and I found that if I were to pay my loans off in 3 years, I'd have to be paying $3,800 per month. I then Googled how much I could expect to make and adjusted my plans accordingly. Unfortunately, in the healthcare field, Denver is a notoriously low-paying city. So I did all these calculations based off of estimates that were a little bit disappointing if I lived in a different city. So once I did have my final loan number and did get a job, I was able to recalculate this based on my actual income and our actual expenses, and I found that I would probably be able to pay my loans off in about 5 years if everything went to plan. That would mean paying a total of $2,400 per month towards my student loans, which would be an additional $900 per month. So we do live below our means, but for easy math and easy understanding, let's assume that our expenses are equal to our take-home pay. If we add the additional $900 per month that I need to pay in order to reach my student loan payoff goal in 5 years to our $7,600 per month budget, that brings our total expenses to $8,500 per month. And the $2,400 a month student loan payment is 28% of this total income / expense. Hopefully at this point it's clear to you that my student loan payment is a significant part of our expenses. This is my whole plan with these loans. I want to be super aggressive to wipe them out, and it's working. But aggressive Aggressive student loan payoff is hard because I could be doing a lot of things that I want to be doing with this money. I am able to stick to this goal and put this significant chunk of money to my loans because I have a super clear and super personal goal. I want to have great work-life balance. And I am super fulfilled by my job, and early retirement is a goal for the future, but not necessarily my main focus. But I do want to spend more time traveling, have time to spend with family, especially because I live out of state from my family. So I want to spend less time at work, which means that I have to be able to cut my expenses. And a huge monthly cost that I have is my student loan payment. So basically, I can drastically cut my hours at work once I've paid off this debt. Aggressive debt payoff may not be the best approach in every single situation, but let's consider a few cases where it may be a good idea. And I hope that this can be useful to open your eyes, but as always, you need to do your own research on your finances. If you have high interest debt, aggressive debt payoff may be something to consider. Paying off high interest debt aggressively can help you reduce the amount you spend in the long run, which will allow you to allocate towards financial goals. Oftentimes, with lower interest debt, you may be able to make more money in the markets or other investments. So if your goal is to have more money in the long run, it's important to consider if you'll actually make more by investing in the money than paying off the debt. But often, if your debt is above 6 or 7% interest, aggressive payoff may be a good plan. If you have a clear vision and plan for what your life will look like after paying off your debt, there are cases where your money may technically make more in other investments, but paying off debt actually contributes to a better quality of life and may be a better choice for you. But some examples may be to reduce your debt to income ratio for home ownership, get rid of a minimum payment to reduce your fixed expenses, or free yourself from ties to a past relationship or other situation. And then another case to pay off debt aggressively is if you finance something you use every day. One argument that I hear a lot for financing something like a car or furniture or an appliance is, oh, it's 0% interest, so I'm actually making more money in the markets. But the reality of it is that the people that are financing these purchases are not actually investing the money. They're just going ahead and spending it on other things. So I am in support of paying off these types of loans and actually investing a portion of the money, rather than just making the minimum payments for an extended period of time and tying up your money without contributing anything extra to investments. That's just my hot take. But if you have said this or done this, ask yourself, are you really investing more every single month because you were able to finance something at a low or 0%? So how is it that we keep our expenses low enough to actually put 30% towards this debt payoff goal? First is we spend super intentionally based on our values. I honestly found that the I want it, I bought it mentality was leading me to spend a lot more than I even thought. I actually deleted social media for a while because I found myself influenced by advertisements telling me that I needed to buy more. When I actually take a moment to reflect back on what I want my life to look like, it's full of good food, time with friends and family, travel, and the outdoors. So I try to be super conscious about putting my money towards these things and not other purchases that don't align with those values. The most helpful thing is we track all of our expenses. The biggest thing this did at first was help us notice how $10 to $15 purchases would add up to hundreds of dollars a month, and if we had been able to put those hundreds of dollars a month to financial goals, how big of an impact that would have made. And honestly, tracking my expenses is kind of a barrier to impulse spending because I think, man, I'm gonna have to track this later. Do I really want to do that? We prioritize free or nearly free hobbies. There's an added bonus if they also keep us healthy. So for us, our hobbies include hiking, walking, reading, library books are fantastic, hosting friends, cooking together, running, and we both run businesses, so quite honestly, we don't have a ton of time for hobbies. Big one that has helped us is that neither of us have a car payment. We both choose to drive paid off cars instead of upgrading. Again, those few extra $100 per month really impact our financial goals. And even when we do need a new car, I don't foresee us taking a car loan for a new car. Nice cars are just not something we value or understand. Because we have a good control of our finances, we strategically use credit cards to earn points to travel for free. And because traveling is one of our high value areas, this helps us reduce our cost and still receive a ton of value. If you don't value travel, cashback is another great option, but we find we can stretch our points a lot further than cash. Link all of my credit card referrals down below. If you happen to be on the hunt for a specific card, you and I could both receive a little something for one of those referrals. And lastly, we are super conscious of our recurring monthly expenses. Again, this is because we track, but we have been super intentional about what we're paying subscriptions for, or like our utility bills. Currently, the only subscriptions we have are Spotify, Kindle, and ad-supported Netflix, which we only watch occasionally, but we feel that $6 is good value for being able to spontaneously turn on a movie if we want to. We keep our monthly utility bill relatively low by being more conscious of the water and electricity and heat that we're using. Once I realized how big of an impact $10 or $20 here or there could be on my financial goals, it was hugely motivating to be conscious of my spending. I use a zero-based budgeting mindset where every single dollar has a job, and this helps me achieve so much. The spending tracker and budget tool that I created is linked below, and it's this tracker that helps me keep my goals and finances a priority. The last thing that I've done to help me pay off my debt aggressively is make debt debt payoff a priority for any unexpected income. Any gifts, babysitting, dog sitting money that I receive, I put 75% instantly towards paying off my debt. So all in all, I am choosing to pay off my debt super aggressively, which means I'm putting a large portion of my income to my debt. I'm able to allocate even more money towards my debt because I'm conscious of my spending and have a clear goal and vision for my life after I've paid off my debt. If you're looking to pay off a mountain of debt, I recommend changing your habits slowly. If you want to follow along on my journey, I share monthly updates on my expenses and income, the behind the scenes of my life here in Colorado, and of course, any financial tips that I have. So don't forget to subscribe. And if you're enjoying the ride, YouTube thinks you'll like this video. I'll see you again next week.